get one of those earworms, a song or something stuck in your head, you just can't get it out, it starts annoying you, it's like digging into the back of your brain, and eventually you start going, what's wrong with me? Well, I've had one stuck in my head for a little while now. In fact, it's been about a year, because I keep hearing it over and over and over again. It's not exactly one specific song, it kind of is. It's more a repeat parody made differently each time, but only slightly, of the same song over and over again by theater dorks. Theater kids, drama kids, we call them when I was in school. Over and over again, they've all been, I guess because they're stuffed up in their houses and not allowed outside because they heard that on the news one time and never decided to look outside and see if that was true. They went, I guess we're like the Chinese. We're now welded into our apartments. We're not allowed outside. And if we do, we have to wear a full, we buy something off of Amazon, a hood that recycles the air from our farts back into our noses because that definitely smells good. And until Dr. Fauci comes through with these vaccines, we're never, ever going to live normally again. I'm all signed up. Where do I sign on the dotted line for the new normal? I want to be a part of it. That's the people I'm talking about. Those people, over and over again, have found the exact same song and have decided to make parodies of it. And as a result of that, I'm being driven nuts! The song is Mr. Sandman. Now, I have no idea if all of these people are just ripping each other off, if there was a first one, or if maybe it's some sort of, mass hypnosis, which seems possible in the current climate, or maybe it's just parallel thinking. But what I do know is I'm ready for the thinking to get pretty perpendicular at this point. I'm going to show you an example of one of the videos I'm talking about. I have a feeling you've probably seen at least one of these. If any of them, it's probably this one, perhaps the most unfortunate one, and also the worst one to get stuck in your head. Take a listen. Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Comes with visual aids. Help all the people who have been quarantined. It's giving me hearing aids. And we'll have to stay distant. You know what I mean. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Oh, God. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. Woo! We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me. I remember the lyrics. That's not a world you want to live in, where you remember this dork's lyrics. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to play for you tonight on the show a lot of these videos. I mean, a sickening amount, because I had to watch them, so you do too. I'm going to infect the whole world with the earworm I've been living with. The only thing is, that particular one may be actually, it's the one I see everywhere, by the way. Tons of people have been mocking that kid. I saw a conservative guy call him brainwashed. That might be the least nuisance, like the smallest, most insignificant nuisance of all of them, okay? In fact, when I reveal to you what I'm going to reveal to you tonight about that one, some of those people are going to maybe think twice about leaving those uploads up on YouTube and calling that kid Dr. Fauci's puppet. It's really pretty sad. Let's see if we can figure out what it is. Was it the vaccine itself that made this happen? What is causing all of these people to come to this exact same conclusion that they need to ask Dr. Fauci to help them? And the only way it can work is through the power of song. I have my own theory, and I'll tell it to you. I believe that autism causes vaccine parodies. So let's go bully the internet. This is Pod Awful. Pod Awful TV.
Oh, y'all is doing it right. Pod Awful sucks, you faggot. Good boy. You scam artist, douchebag. You're the worst, motherfucker. Just give up. You fucking little piece of shit.
You're crazy. You're sick of your head.
Fucking dweeb. You're not funny. I want to really kick your ass.
My mom doesn't like it when I mention Podawful anymore.
Welcome, everybody. It's Podawful, the internet, part 2. We're trying it again. Let's see how long this one lasts. Probably not long. Anyway, welcome. I'm your host, Jesse. This is not my YouTube account. This account is owned by a conglomeration of companies like Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. It's actually owned by Unilever, and they have contracted me to host this show to get the word out about vaccines to you. Hi, I'm Jesse P.S. Welcome to Podawful, the only show sponsored by Unilever and meant to bully the internet. Official Unilever podcast. Anyway, and you guys already know my vaccine status. I have gotten all of the vaccines. I decided to just, I'm sort of a Pascal's wager kind of guy. I figure if you get all of them, then there's no chance you could possibly ever die from anything ever. And that's the most important thing that we can do, is make sure no one dies from anything ever. Let's check in with the chat room, see what they're saying in there. We're live, as we are every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Podawful.TV. Wednesdays in the Pizza Fund, our pay section. Let's see what they're saying. Thanks, Big Pharma. Finally, a Pfizer-sponsored bully cast. Thanks, pharma companies, as we love Big Pharma here at Podawful. And remember, you can go back through the lines and get the vaccine more than once. They don't check. Those cards are meaningless. You can print off your own at home. It doesn't matter. It's not even illegal. Vaccines are good. This channel is also sponsored by Andy's Random Edits. That's true. That's true. Big Pharma, Unilever, and Andy's Random Edits, all in unison with one another. It's a beautiful world if you think about it. I mean, did you ever see such a partnership develop? This channel belongs to Andy's Random Edits. He set it up. Unilever contacted him. Pfizer said, we need to get in on that. And here we are. Let's go to the first video. Now, I started researching this. Here's the deal. My wife, Kelsey, she loves watching these videos. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Well, again, I have a theory. I have a very strong theory on it. I don't think she wants me to say it, but I have a very strong theory that might have already been mentioned in this episode, and she loves watching these, so I end up seeing every one of them. A few weeks ago, I said, I guess we're going to have to end up doing an episode on this, surely. And then even more came out since then. It is, you want to know the true pandemic? It's a parody pandemic. That's what's going on right now. So I'm doing my research. I'm trying to find the very first example of this. Who is the one that everyone else is biting? Whose style is being aped here? Who thought of this first? News articles, local news things, clips, videos, everywhere, all seem to point to one girl. And I don't actually know her name here, but this is the girl. It says, student makes COVID-19 parody with Mr. Sandman tune. So to me, this is the earliest one I can find. It's from April 10th, 2020. All the news agencies reported on this because it was a brand new concept. Brand new. They were like, look at what this child did. She is telling us to do the right thing. It's a brilliant parody. We've never seen anything like this before. Let's take a listen. Okay, so she starts off wearing the mask. She's doing the bum bums. And by the way, I looked up the lyrics of this song. I always thought it was bum 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 bum. I thought it was a bum bum thing, like a Tom Green style. It turns out the official lyrics for this song are bung. Bung, 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 bung. Bang, 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 bang. Words used to mean different stuff back in the past. She's a pretty good singer, though. Let's give her a shot here.
Mr. Sandman, bring us vaccines. We need a cure for COVID-19.
Okay. Now, again, and I know a lot of you out there are cringing at this for all of your very political reasons, okay? And I don't necessarily disagree with those reasons. If we're going to be honest here for a second, I'm probably on your side. This episode's not about that. In the comment section below, I don't need to hear anything about like, wow, these people are brainwashed. I don't care. I know. All right. We all know You don't have to say anything about it. Now that everybody's getting the vaccines and they're saying you can go maskless in a lot of places, a lot of states here in the US are now saying you can go maskless again. And they're even saying we can't check. We have no way of checking if you've got the microchip from Gates or not. I don't need to hear about that in the comment section either. And they're letting you do it anyway. Here's what I want to hear in the comments. In the comments below after this video, in the chat room, wherever you want to tell me, you can email it to me, okay? I'd be happy to read this. If you live in one of the places that has recently decided to finally go maskless, the mask mandates have been lifted. If you live in one of those places, have you tested this? Because I have not yet tested this, okay? I have not been anywhere where you can go maskless just yet. So I want to know, after hearing about this, have you tried to walk in anywhere? Because we all know. I know you're very, God-fearing opinions out there, okay? And that you know that they're just virtue signaling. They're mad about getting the vaccines because now they don't have to wear the mask. And so how do they virtue signal? I know. I'm much more interested in our businesses letting you in without them. Now, the focus of tonight is just the parodies, okay? I will check the chat room on that topic in just a second. But I want to roll this back just a little bit. Because if this is the very first parody, I'm seeing a glaring error already. Not good. This is a child. I might be being a little harsh because it's a kid. But, everybody decided to copy this kid.
Bring us vaccines.
Hang on. And I don't like a child singing about bungs, by the way.
Mr. Sandman, bring us vaccines.
Okay, now here's the problem. Most of the videos we're going to watch tonight are addressing either Dr. Fauci or Trump or Biden. It depends on when they were made. Trump was still in office when this one was made. This little girl is addressing Mr. Sandman, which is not only not a very good parody, but also, I'm pretty sure he's not in charge. Morpheus, the Dream Lord, I'm pretty sure is not in charge of vaccinating your children. I was a little confused about this parody. I got to be honest. You could have reached out to anybody, even just a local doctor, and done the song about him. I don't care who you say it about, just not Mr. Sandman. You might as well be asking Santa Claus at that point, Write him a letter. He'll let you know if you were a good little girl this year, I'll jab you in the arm with a needle.
We need a cure for COVID-19. We're losing
Oh, it says here on the naughty nice list you wanted vaccines? Well, sorry, Squirt, you're getting coal.
hope. The world is in peril. We want to hug you, only that's not sterile.
Now, I am seeing comments saying, somebody said that they have been walking in places mask-free for months. I went mask-free in Costco yesterday, says Katie in the chat room. We haven't had mask mandates in a while in Wisconsin, they're saying. I live in a country that believes in quarantine after 700 years of it working. Okay, I don't really know what that means even. Bone-loving bitch, what the hell? All right, some of these comments are getting a little bit worrying, to be honest. Dr. Sandman, they're saying. Employee at the grocery store told me I didn't have to wear my mask, and I took it off. Then when I got to the line, there was only one guy wearing one, and he looked super upset that nobody else was wearing one. That's from our good friend, Jock Jam Jesus. I love that. So this is about to be, this is why I want to know from people what's going on. We're about to be in some really murky territory. Things are about to really heat up. Wait, and when the theater kids who've all got their ouchie band-aid on their arm, they're so proud of, oh, look, I got vaccinated today. They printed, I guarantee, I don't know this for a fact, I guarantee somebody printed band-aids that said, I got vaccinated, the way you get an I voted sticker. Those people are about to have the most insane mental meltdowns you've ever seen. Now, part of that, I believe, is what led to this. This little girl's just doing it because she was looking for something to do. Maybe her teacher told her it's a student. So there's a million things that could have been going on here. When we get to the adults, though, oh boy.
Sandman, side with us, please. We're really frightened of this new disease. Just get us out of quarantine, 'cause we don't want COVID-19.
See, okay, now as far as the parallel thinking thing goes, I think my guess is that if it was a parallel thinking thing, that a lot of these people ended up doing this song just because of how easily you can replace dream and that sort of rhyme with vaccine, COVID-19, all of that kind of stuff. But I don't know for sure. Okay, now she did edit the video incorrectly. She's got one, so she's on screen 4 times for the audio people, and one of the 4 is now coughing, and the other 3 look the wrong direction. That was easily fixed in post. You know what? I give this a fucking F, and I hope this girl fails whatever class this was for. This is actually bullshit.
Mr. Sandman, it's breaking my heart.
And again, what does Mr. Sandman have to do with this? What, do you call your doctor that? Excuse me, Mr. Sandman, I have a cough.
We're giving handshakes from 6 feet apart. The supermarkets are in a caper, like even Amazon is out of toilet paper.
Hang on a second. All right, I'm not letting you get away with that. I don't care if you're a little girl. I don't care if you are a brand spanking new baby. The supermarkets are in a caper. That was a bit of a stretch for a rhyme, don't you think? What an idiot. God, what are we even teaching our kids over Zoom nowadays? So I want you to pay close attention to some of these rhymes, some of these lyrics, because I want to hear which ones share the same lyrics. How did everybody think of the same thing? This is actually a huge problem with the internet in general for comedy. Something I run into all the time. It's something that I think, like Saturday Night Live, despite the fact that it is the most unfunny, gratuitously bad thing that has existed in years, I believe that a big part of the problem for them is they must constantly, even being a live show that they're producing new material every week for, every single time they must be running up against the same problem that I see, which is it's too easy now. It's too easy to run and be the first to an idea. And that's all it takes. You just have to be the first one. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be smart. It doesn't have to be funny for a comedy idea. You just have to do it first and get it the most viral. That's what happened with this little girl. And with SNL, I've seen people accuse them. They must have stolen this. They probably stole that. Oh, they stole this joke. It's like everybody thinks of the same thing. None of these ideas are good ideas. None of them are smart ideas. And most importantly, none of them are funny ideas. You can't sit there and claim SNL is not funny. It hasn't been funny in years. And then accuse them of trying to steal things from funny people. Because if they were funny, they wouldn't know to steal it from funny people. And I have a feeling that most of the things that they get accused of stealing aren't really that fucking funny to begin with.
Sandman, I'm so alone. Now legally I cannot leave my home.
So I forgot that was in this song. I'm telling you, these people have been living a different life than you and me. They think legally they can't. Now, this was April of last year. This is a little girl. She really thought that she couldn't legally leave her home. We are now a year past that. Imagine that mindset in these weak, goo-brained, disfigured morons. That thought swimming around inside their smooth heads. They have thought, like, they really think, boy, the only thing I can do to even help local business is order delivery, because if I open my door, I'll die. And I know we all know this, but I'm telling you to really picture this in your head. Picture being that type of person with that type of thought in your head. And then ask yourself, would you come out of that the same person? Would you come out of that a well person, a strong person, mentally speaking? Or would it absolutely crush your brain? And then on the other side of that tunnel, the light at the end of it is an untested shot in your arm. It's just a thought experiment, okay? Obviously, the vaccine cures everything. You'll never die.
And I am sick of this old place, Mr. Sandman, don't touch your face. Boom, 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 boom.
Okay, I think that's enough of that one. You get that one. Not a bad singer. I'm going to give her high marks for singing, low marks for editing, and extremely low marks for execution. Unfortunately, the lyrics just not very good. So that one overall is an F. Not even worth the entire song. There you go, everybody. Okay, sorry, little girl. Kick rocks, bitch. You're out of here. But here comes an interesting wrinkle. Everything I saw told me that that little girl's video was first. The news was praising this little girl. They wanted you to know how inventive, how ingenious she was, how she was unlike. She is a smarter girl. You know, she's one of these wunderkinds. Turns out she copied it. That's actually, I fooled you. That's not the first one. I found one earlier than that. And it's from 2 days before that video was released, as far as I can tell. I looked for every copy of that video I could find. Maybe they're almost completely on the same date. This is from 2 days before, as far as I can tell. And this is a grown ass woman. This one's called Wash Your Hands, Man, the COVID-19 song version of Mr. Sandman, which I love this. This is a grown woman and she doesn't know the word parody. She is making parodies. This isn't even the only parody on her channel, but she does not know the word for it. So she calls it a song version. Okay.
Blah 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 blah.
Is it, by the way, is it infecting you yet? Is it infecting you worse than COVID-19 ever has? This is I'm telling you, by the end of this episode, send this episode to somebody. Send this to the most like these people person you know. That's what I want you to do, because they like these. If you go into the comment section of any of these videos, it's positive. You would think it would all be a horror show making fun of these, but cringe. Oh, epic fail. Whoa. Bah! I'm literally puking my entire guts. Fuck this little girl. I hope she dies. You would think those would be the normal, natural reactions in the comments section. If we looked, well, maybe we'll look at the end of this one to see what the people are saying. I guarantee you, it's people like, this is so wonderful. In fact, send this entire episode to your most vaccinated friends. Ooh, we might have to start using that as a general blanket term, if you know what I mean. Send it to your most paused up vaccinated friends and force this earworm on them. That thing they were scared of getting and never got it. I don't know anybody who did, by the way. That whole thing, the kahuna, you know, if they were scared of that, here's something that can actually infect them and make them worse. You're going to be stupider at the end of this episode.
Blah 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 blah. Wash your hands, man. Keep yourself clean. Blah blah blah. Give them a good scrub to get them to clean. Blah blah blah. Use lots of soap. Give them full exposure. Keep washing till 20 seconds are over.
Now, one of the interesting things I noticed about this one, and again, it came out 2 days before the little girls, is that it's also done in 4 separate screens, which means, if I'm right, and the little girl ripped off this woman, and she ripped her off not knowing what, like, she doesn't know how to do a parody, so she just did Mr. Sandman again. If I'm right about this, and she even ripped her off visually, and I'm left to believe that maybe even this woman didn't come up with this idea. There might be one older and I just can't find it. But as far as that little girl goes, watch your back, okay? Because if I find out I'm right, you really ripped off this song from this woman, by God, I will contact Weird Al. Look at me. You think I don't know Weird Al?
How can you know?
Weird Al. What if Weird Al was like Joe Rogan for comedy? He's the Joe Rogan of podcast songs, where he jumps on in the middle of people's parody songs and goes, "Hey, You're just turning these lyrics into the Mexican version of it. That's not weird. You're supposed to be weird about it. He confronts them, and people in the audience like, whoa, oh shit. Yo, Holmes, look, I came up with this myself, dog. It's parallel thinking. I've seen you in the back of clubs ripping off parody songs. He's getting all brolic, taking TRT, shaving his head to look like a thumb.
Where all the sneezes and pathogens go, help us fight COVID-19. Wash your hands, man, keep yourself clean.
Decent singer, fairly well executed, not about Dr. Fauci, and as far as I can tell, might be the original one. High fucking marks, okay? I don't like it. I hate it. It's very specific, though. It's just about washing your hands. And I can tell why she chose the song. The parody makes sense. You know, Sandman, Handsman. I get it. Not funny. It's shitty. It's the worst topic of all time. But we have to put that aside for this because that's the entire premise of the show tonight.
Blah, 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 blah.
She's changed the bungs to blub, blub, blub. There's bubbles on screen. She really put some thought into this, okay? Really, 07's in the chat for this lady. I hate this old bitch they're saying in the chat. I don't know. You think this is... Man, if this is annoying you, if you can't get past this one, just wait. It gets so much worse from here. You have seen nothing. I'm about to melt your fucking eyes out of your skull. Okay? It's going to be like elder god stuff happening. You're not going to understand the entire inner workings of your own geometry by the end of this.
Blah, 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 blah. Wash your hands. Wash your hands, man. Wash your hands, man. Please disinfect. It is the least.
She's even putting her own spin on it. This woman deserves the prize. This woman, I don't care if she wasn't the first. Even if the little girl was somehow first. I'm giving it to this lady. She put her all into it, and she didn't know what she was spawning. The only problem I can see with this woman is the same problem I have with all of this, which is it's the direct result of drama kids. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, I want you to think back to your high school years, okay? Now, I was one of these kids, technically. There's a lot of people going to get on me about this. Very technically, I was a part of this whole scene. I'll tell you how that happened. And I've actually, for a long time, I have wanted to write either like a book or something. I could give you some tales about these people and their disgusting nature. In middle school, you were forced to pick an elective course. Everybody remembers this. You had to do something. Most of you chose band. I looked at musical instruments and went, why? I don't understand music. I think it's, personally, gay. I think a man, emoting through musical tonalities is kind of a way of being a wuss. So I couldn't join band. I didn't think I had any talent for it. I didn't listen to music. The other choices were orchestra, chorus. I actually was forced to do a year of chorus one year in middle school. You had to do one of the musical ones. Anyway, I ended up in theater basically at the insistence of others, insistence of adults telling me, oh, Jesse, you like acting out in class? You like being a nuisance? You're going to love this. Now think about that. If they push the kids who are nuisances into this, those kids, if they like it, are going to grow up to be nothing but nuisances. Now, of course, I grew up to be a nuisance, but in a slightly different way. I think we can admit that this ain't the same kind of nuisance that we're talking about over here. And the only reason I stayed in those classes come high school, you had to have an elective then too. I started taking art in high school. I liked drawing and that kind of thing. The only reason I stuck with it is for, and this is tale as old as time, a girl. Now, I'm so glad I got over that. Because let me tell you something. If you stick around in the theater class for a girl, that girl grows up to be this woman right here. And judging by the looks of this lady, that seems about right with the one I'm talking about. It ain't that different, to be quite honest. It's a little bit much. Okay? Some people never grow out of that. They start, not only are they into the theater thing, then they get into musical theater. The guys we're talking about, the ladies we're talking about right now, it's really more the musical theater kids. Musical theater kids, if the coronavirus just specifically wiped out musical theater kids, I don't think you'd see Israel rushing to a vaccine. You know what I mean? I don't think you would see anybody going, oh, the devastation, the loss, the mass graves in New York, the unaccounted for bodies. There wouldn't be any homeless to throw into a mass grave. There's not a single musical theater kid who ended up homeless. You know what I mean? But really, it's all the theater kids. It's all of them. And there's different types of theater kids. Now, there's the ones like me. I grew up, I know a guy, he's actually a good friend of mine. He's the foreman of a construction site. He was in theater. He and I were in it in the same way, where we're just watching everybody else going, well, this is gay. Okay. Ooh, boy. Now, he was doing the tech side of it. The techie kids often grow up to be Sonic the Hedgehog lovers. Let's just put it like that, okay? But he wasn't one of those. We were just kind of outsiders with nowhere else to go. We couldn't play instruments. We couldn't be in band. So we wound up in this place. Then you've got like girls like the girl I chased. They're semi-serious about it. There's a part of them that one day wants to move away to New York and become a real actor. And then it doesn't work out. And instead they, I don't know, own a bar. That might be too specific. Maybe I'm getting a little too specific with my own personal life and people I know, but the point is there are girls like that where they're kind of into it. They would like for something to happen, but they don't expect much. They're a little tempered with it. Then you've got, now this is tough. There's a type of guy, and it's a fraction of a heartbeat away from me. It is hard to really, the lines are blurred. I'll be honest. Okay, the lines are blurred. To an outside observer, you wouldn't know the difference. Maybe. If you took 2 seconds, you'd go, oh God, no. This person's all right. That person is not well in the head. And the person I'm talking about there is the guy who, when the adult said, you like acting out, why don't you act on stage? They went, I should be the star, the center of attention. These are the kids that, like, you remember in school where there was a guy and he thought he was the class clown? He thought he was the class clown, but he was sort of the goon of your class. Like, everybody was laughing, but not with him. You had a secret nickname for him. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? That's the guy. Every theater class has one of these guys, and they get their first girlfriend through theater. Like, that, this is how their life opens up for them. It changes them as a person. Those guys, too, they're kind of like the female version I was just talking about. They don't take it with them later in life so much, but they go off to have like a real job. And then they're the guy at your work who's at the water cooler singing a song that you think maybe is from Chicago, the musical. And you're like, I've never really seen that, but I feel like I've heard that through the zeitgeist. And then every once in a while, he does something like he's the one who dresses up for St. Patrick's Day at your work. The guy who comes in wearing the green top hat on St. Patrick's Day, this is the man I'm talking about. He's got a secret desire to try on costumes for no reason. He doesn't have a show. He doesn't have an excuse. He's not going on stage. But when he goes home, he is trying on costumes. And if he gets married, and they often do, but if he gets married, he might try on his wife's dress when she's away. put on her high heels. He's not gay. Let me be clear. This is not a drag king, drag queen, whatever. It's not that. It's not a secret trans man. What I'm saying is he just likes the feeling of it. This is a thing we used to have. They were called transvestites. They didn't want to be a lady. They wanted to be a man dressed like a lady. They wanted to wear yoga pants. All I'm getting at is there's a certain type of guy who takes that and he finds nowadays, this didn't used to happen. I'm kind of thinking back in like the 90s and prior, where the worst they could get away with is sort of humming a show tune at work and maybe secretly going in the closet and putting on their wife's feather boa. Nowadays, we have the internet, which has ruined everything. It's a toilet. Welcome. And you're being flushed constantly. And these guys, when they get down into the sewer, they find a new little outlet for these things. You know? They find somewhere, maybe it's a TikTok account. Okay? It's oftentimes a TikTok account. Or a, what was the thing before TikTok? Musical.ly? Most of those guys died off on Vine. Vine was a big one, but TikTok kind of brought it back a little bit now. All I'm saying is they'll find some sort of outlet for it. And it seems like the quarantine really woke up a lot of these people, you know? The force awakened within them. And suddenly they went, you know, I always told... I'm sorry. I love this type of guy. Or girl. There's women who do this too. In fact, I've seen this posted so many times. Like when the quarantine stuff started, I saw this so many times. I always told myself I was going to write a novel. I always told myself I have this pet project I've wanted to work on. And now that I'm working from home and I have the time, oh my God. I've never been more embarrassed by anything in my life than seeing all these people claim that they're going to start working on a thing they've always meant to work on. That's the person I'm talking about. They start to dig in. They start to really make the most of this time they have locked away inside their homes. And then suddenly you start noticing things. And maybe they even had a little project before that. Maybe they're the guy from work where, I don't know, he like builds wacky, like maybe he makes strange sculptures and puts them in his yard, you know, like a pink flamingo type guy. Maybe he was that type of guy before, but now you used to write it off as like, he's quirky, he's the quirky guy. You know, I wouldn't want to go to dinner with him, but he's not terrible. And now you're like, oh my God, we got to get Dean out of here. How can we get him fired? Do we just... Carla, can you just accuse Dean of having raped you or something? I don't know. And she's like, what? No, no, you don't understand. Dean, he's the worst person here. And Carla's like, yeah, I know, but I can't say he raped me. And then you're like, no, you can. You know that, right? Like, nobody, even if they find out you're lying, you won't even see jail time. You're a lady. And Carla's like, okay. And then you guys hatch the scheme. It's like that movie Bully. It's sort of like the movie Bully, but with accusing Dean of being a rapist because he's a gay theater dork. The point is, we know certain people like this. Let's explore that further in just a bit. Let's take a look now at, okay, we've got some weird ones here. Here's one from, now this one's only a few days after the little girl's video, okay? And this one is called Dr. Fauci. So this is the first one I know of where it's directly addressing Dr. Fauci, a parody of Mr. Sandman. And this one's a song by Carrie Dalby. So Carrie ripped off a little girl 3 days after she went viral. Which is the best. Like, when you think about that. Is this a grown woman? I can't remember who did this one.
It's going to disappear.
Oh, and it's a Trump one. You thought you were cringing before. I told you we're going to get incrementally worse until it's the absolute worst thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
One day it's like a miracle, it will disappear. And from our shores, it could get worse.
So this is a grown woman. Imagine this. You're a grown woman and you're looking at your local news and you get jealous of a child for going viral. And you're like, what about me? What about me? I've always had a pet project I wanted to work on. I took a couple years of theater in high school.
bring us good news. Give us relief for this pandemic blues. Stop this lockdown, cause we're going timeless. And tell us how to stop coronavirus. Fauci, I'm so alone. Got no quarantine to call my own.
Somebody in the chat says, somebody needs to make that film about a gay theater dork getting dealt with. That's from GVT in the chat. Maybe that's my project. I've got a lot of stories. I've got a lot of great observing theater dork stories and the wild antics, the honestly criminal antics that go on in an auditorium in a high school behind the scenes. The absolute horrific things that go on. Maybe I should, now that I've got some time on my hands, maybe I should make that film.
It's better than a cruise. Dr. Fauci, bring me good news.
I have to be clear about something too. Listening to this song, and having this stuck in my head for as long as I've had it stuck in my head now, and telling you guys about these highly embarrassing things, this might be the worst I've ever felt in an episode of the show ever. I mean, I honestly, there's a part of me that doesn't want you to look at me right now. The camera has to go, actually. I can't be involved with this. Just give me a minute to recover after what I just said.
Now the Democrats.
Oh my God. And then the Trump. Now! That sounds like my impression of Trump. Now the Democrats. It's so. Oh my God.
Bring me good news.
This might be too much even for me.
Now the Democrats are
Politicizing. Now for too long, frankly. It's like Ryan Katsu Rivera doing this. How is that a real quote from him? He actually sounds like that. I thought we made that up.
And this is their new.
Isn't it a little strange? Look at these pictures of him. Now that Trump isn't president and you're kind of a goo brain at this point if you still care whether or not he's president. Isn't it very strange to see and hear him? At the time, I always rolled my eyes when people made fun of Trump, but looking at him now, holy Toledo.
Dr. Fauci, please shut up, Trump.
Please shut up, Trump. Like this little lawn gnome is going to do something for you.
Do your cute face palm to stop his work done.
Okay, now hang on a second. I'm going to have to come back on camera for this. This is also something we need to discuss. She says, do your little cute face palm to stop his word dump. Number one, he did it. Didn't stop anything. Frankly. Number two, cute. There's a strong feeling in me that I kind of think that the reason so many people did this parody song, specifically addressing Dr. Fauci, is they're just horny for the Dr. Lawn Gnome. There's a lot of women out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what? I'm not judging your kinks, whatever you're into, okay? I don't judge anything. You want to wear a diaper as an adult, you want to shit in a diaper and piss in it and then drag it across your own face, then ask your actual mother to clean your piss and shit off your face, and that's how you get hard. I don't judge. You like to be spanked on the balls until your balls are so swollen that you actually have to get them operated on. Physically, you can no longer create children. I don't judge. You're a pedophile? I'm on YouTube. I can't judge. If you're into Dr. Fauci sexually, okay, fine. Is this the best venue? Is this the absolute greatest way to express that desire? I don't think it is. If it is, you should be more. It would be a funnier and better parody. It'd be a more listenable song in general if you were just upfront about that. If you just made the song Dr. Fauci, give me your rump, let me open it up and you take a dump. I eat shit and please don't clean it. Dr. Fauci, won't you go in my beaver? I don't care. You already are more entertained by that version of the song. Trust me.
Give him the truth.
Okay, now that I said that, though, I have to go off camera again. It's just too much for me. Don't look at me. Promise me this. When I come back on camera for the rest of the show, do not look at me. Okay? Look at everything else. I've got a lot of stuff in this room for you to look at. You know, look at, there's flashing lights and graphics, and there's a constantly moving chat room, and look at how silly my arms are. Please, just don't, whatever you do, put a blind spot right on me. Focus on this red, and then just blur it out. And if I can find a way, can I censor myself on here? Is there a way? I'm going to find a way to, oh, here we go. I think, let's just, here. Can I just do the rest of the show like this? Is this okay? If I just, what is the appropriate amount here? There we go. Is this okay? Yeah, this is fine. You don't really need to. What do you need to see in a show? Oh, this is a great point from Maniacal Foreigner in the chat room. Women love a man who tells them what they can and cannot do. And that's the greatest part of this, too, is it's like S&M. You know, S&M, you know, for all of the horrific things you may have seen on the internet where they're tying up a lady and spanking her titties until the milk runs raw. Jesus Christ. Sometimes I say stuff where I'm like, what the fuck? How did that come out? For as terrible as some of those things look, in reality, it's kind of pretend, right? You've got a safe word. It's never going to go past whatever you want. It never goes too extreme for whatever you are into, right? It's pretend. Same thing with Dr. Fauci. He goes in front of America. He says, listen, don't wear a mask. And then everybody goes, okay. And then 2 seconds later, he goes, I mean, do wear a mask. I don't know. Something. Listen to the science, the CD. I don't know what he sounds like, by the way. I've never heard the man talk. Listen to the CDC, everybody. I assume it's that. Well, oh, everybody, it's me, Dr. Fauci. You gotta listen to the science. Yeah, fuck yeah, science, math, bitch. I assume. And so the cool thing is, whatever he says, it's not a law. You don't have to do it. You know? Joe Biden came on Twitter and said, get a vaccine or wear a mask forever until you do. That's not a law. So for these people, that's kind of like the safety. It's sort of play. It's what do they call that? Role playing. It's role playing for them. Dr. Fauci, he's a sexy little gnome. God, look at him. He's a silver fox. Boy, you could just crush him under your boot. He would turn into a stringy piece of gum. No problem. And that's what they like about it. He tells them what to do, but they know they're in no real danger at any point. It's like being on a roller coaster. It's exciting. It's thrilling. And for a lot of women, it vibrates their parts and makes them go. That's pretty close. They say the chat. That was a pretty good impression of him. That's pretty close. Whatever. Dumb, 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 dumb Trump. Okay, fine. Stolen from South Park, but all right. He sucks, he sucks, he sucks. Yes. I like that. This lady hired a guy just to do that. Yes. Is that what Dr. Fauci sounds like? Oh, hello, everyone. The newest guidelines from the CDC state that if you're fully vaccinated, you no longer have to wear a mask. So please go out and enjoy. And to the ladies out there, suck this hog. Answer my plea, 6 feet away, 6 feet away from the man of my dreams. 6 feet away from me is the man of my dreams. That is in almost all of these songs. Everybody came up with the same thing on that one. You know what I'm... Oh, ooh, wait. I stepped on this. I was about to say, let me just let this one play. Because I feel like I'm not forcing this earworm on you hard enough. I really want you to suffer the way I've suffered. Okay, you want to talk about S&M? That's kind of pot awful. you're having sort of a gay S&M experience with me right now, which is why I can't let you look at me. I should be wearing a GIMP mask during this show. Kelsey, go on Amazon and order me a GIMP mask. I assume that's possible. And make sure it's Prime, okay? Let me play this, though, because I was stepped on something.
6 feet away from the man of my dreams. Get the mansion now to shop at Versace. And can't get batteries from my Hitachi.
I've seen multiple jokes in these songs and outside of other parody songs about COVID. All of these women so badly just want to put a toy up against their clit and what have these women done to themselves? That's the only way they can get off is if a tiny little wood elf tells them what to do as they rub the most high-powered item from Brooks Brothers against themselves. Is Brooks Brothers a suit company? I meant to say, we were just talking about this the other day in the Discord. Podawful.com/Discord, by the way. Join our Discord. What is the high-end store full of crap where you can buy either a massage chair or a life-size version of Predator? I always forget the name of it. They have Bose speakers that are just clear panels.
Would be so itchy, so we can grow up. Let's all stay home and drink some booze. Dr. Fauci, bring us, please, 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 Dr. Fauci.
Brookstone. That's what I guess I meant. Brookstone. There's another one, too. There's more than one. There's Brookstone, and then there's the other one. And while the thing I said sounded more like Brookstone, I think the one I meant was the other one.
Bring us good news.
Oh my God. And it ends on a dog taking a crap that looks like Trump. You cringing yet? The sharper image. That's it. Thank you very much. That's the one I always mean. Listen, whenever I ask this question from now on, the one I mean is the sharper image. Okay? I'll never remember that. It's the sharper image. So just, you guys keep that in your back pockets. When I go, what's the store with a life-size version of a xenomorph? You say the sharper image. We get to move on with our lives, and move on we shall. By the way, again, join our Discord, the new cult. We're always in there. There's always something funny going on in there. Podawful.com/Discord. Podawful.com/Discord. And if you're not a Discord person, we do technically still have a Facebook group. It's Podawful.com/Cult for that one. And follow me on Twitter. I am now at Death2YouTube with the number 2. Death2YouTube on Twitter. No real reason. It was actually Twitter suggested that name. I made a new account on Twitter and they just suggested that name. You never know what causes these things. Anyway, let's take a look at maybe the most bizarre one of these parodies I've seen so far. I don't even know. Listen, this is a foreigner, and you know me. I hate everything that's foreign. And so I assume that this person, and I can't tell if they're English or Australian or Afrikaans. It's all the same to me. It's just foreign as far as I care. Like, here's the interesting thing about British people is they technically invented English, and then they forgot it. They just forgot how to say it, how to use it. They invented the letter R, which goes like this: ruh. Hey, British people, it's ruh, and then they forgot. So I don't know how you forget that. You invented it. So with everything they do, I go, how? Why? What on earth? How come you use no spices in your foods? You guys fought the entire world for spices. It makes no sense. So I'm going to assume this is a British person. And instead of addressing Dr. Fauci, they're addressing a Mr. Hancock. But I believe this is another rip-off parody. Let's take a listen.
Injection.
Oh, and they're pretending to be the Chordettes. It's a guy, but he's got the image here of the Chordettes singing the song, and he's pretending to be all four of them.
Injection. Mr. Hancock.
Yes?
Bring me vaccine.
Now, did the same guy from the last song do this one where he goes, yes? Does Mr. Hancock sound... This video came out months and months after the last one we watched. This is from December of last year. Does Dr. Fauci and Mr. Hancock talk exactly the same way? Yes. Are they both the guy from The Simpsons? That waiter guy from The Simpsons? Yes. No.
So I can escape the COVID-19. I need this shit to be fucking over. Get shit-faced with my mates and really hangover.
See, and you throw in words like mates. I can't even pay attention. This is the worst one, and I can't even. It's almost. I'm almost not hearing it. If this is the only one I ever heard, it never would have been an earworm. I glaze over when I hear stuff like this.
Yes?
Except for that, yeah, I like the yes. He's kind of got me with the guy coming up going, yes.
No side effects. Now I have a massive penis that's erect.
Okay. Now this guy, again, I don't know Mr. Hancock, but judging by his name, he must be getting people horny too, because this dude flat out says he's got a giant penis that's erect from the COVID? What is causing that? Hang on.
To be fucking over. Get shit-faced with my mates and really hangover.
And again, let's keep in mind, presumably all of these people are technically ripping off a little girl who sang this song. So when you add these lyrics on top...
Hancock.
Yes?
You said no side effects.
Okay, you said no side effects.
Now I have a massive penis that's erect.
I don't think that's one of the side effects. And also, I doubt it's massive.
Hairy chin with shaving cream. Mr. Hancock.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Hang on a second. I know it's a guy in my head. So I was doing the math going, he's saying this about him. But again, he's the Chordettes. So he's accusing the vaccine not of causing autism, of causing you to go trans. This is actually, you know what? I was going to give him the lowest marks possible. Let's listen to that one more time with our new context.
Hancock.
Yes?
You said no side effects. Now I have a massive penis that's erect. Hairy chin with shaving cream. Mr. Hancock, shove your vaccine.
Oh, he doesn't even want... You know what? High marks. Actually, this just went from the lowest rated to the highest rated. I had no idea that people even existed out there that were transvestigating people who got the vaccine. That's actually kind of incredible. Yeah, I would love to see if one of you goes out to your local vaccine place, you know, find somewhere that's really popping off with giving the shots, and you stand outside and you record yourself asking everybody who comes out if they are trans, you know, truly transvestigate every single person. I don't know. I'll give you something for free, a free t-shirt or something. I think that would deserve something nice. All right, here we go again. Yep, that's right. There's more. You're not even close. We're not even close to done. And we're coming back around to the kid I showed you at the beginning. This one's called Mr. Sandman, COVID-19, Coronavirus, Pandemic, Parody. This is from this year, I think. When is this from? February 3rd, 2021. There's 0 comments on it. So we are the only people to watch this. Oh, okay, we got a little sparkle effect. Here we go. Oh, no. It's kids. Okay, it's kids. So now the kids are even ripping off the other kids.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make it as healthy as I've ever seen.
Okay, it's 8 little girls. 8 of them on screen, all in the exact same way that the other little girl had 4 of her. It's just 8 of them separately but on screen together. Okay? I don't know how to describe that. Split screening them, right? And this one, they also didn't change the name of Mr. Sandman to anything that makes sense. So kids don't get it. Kids don't understand that kids now, this actually might be a real problem. There might be a thing going on here where now kids are going to believe that Mr. Sandman is someone who brings you vaccines at night, which honestly is kind of a cool update. It's a terrifying character, a Krampus-style character. Now, if you're not good, Johnny, remember, Mr. Sandman will come while you're sleeping and poke you filled with needles. You don't want that, dude. Remember how scared you were at the doctor's office when you had to get that shot? Well, Mr. Sandman's going to do it while you're sleeping. And also, he gets handsy.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Oh, that's a good point in the chat. That's a good point in the chat, actually. We don't have to worry about children in the future, I suppose, now that everyone's infertile.
As healthy as I've ever seen.
Now that everybody's trans and infertile, I guess you don't have to come up with new fanciful characters to terrify your children into behaving slightly better only when you're watching.
Let me take trips, smoke this cup, explode.
Yeah, he's got needles for fingers. He's basically Freddy Krueger with oh, there's actually a scene in one of the Freddy movies where he's got needles for fingers, right? And he kind of is a dream character, too. All right, it's just Freddy Krueger. Mr. Sandman to children is now just Freddy Krueger with vaccine fingers. Hypodermic fingers. All right, now one problem with these little girls is they can't sing. Now, I know some of you filled in that blank there for a second with they look busted. That's disgusting. Please leave my chat room. They're not capable of singing. There's somebody in here who's so flat, Randy Jackson is right now rolling over in his grave. I'm actually being informed Randy Jackson is still alive. So.
I'm so bored in the extreme. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Now, I love this. This is actually something incredible that and by the way, all of these girls are theater girls. Just assume they're the people we were talking about before. I've noticed something here that is kind of incredible and I believe is something you see all the time and maybe don't even notice it. All these people want to virtue signal about following the rules and staying 6 feet apart and wearing the masks and stuff. They don't want you to know that they're doing just like you most of the time and congregating in mass groups in small indoor places. And so they'll do little tricks to make you think that they're not. Now take a look at this. Each one of these girls is on a split screen as if they are not being recorded at the same time or they're in a different room from each other. But then if you look at the background, they're all in front of the same background. They're all in front of the same wall. So even if they were recorded separately, they were all in the room together. You know what I mean? They're doing this to fool you into thinking that they were doing the right way. They were following all the rules. Meanwhile, these little girls are coughing, sneezing, sliming on each other. And the second you teach them about Dr. Fauci, forget about it. By the way, every single one of these girls looks like she wants to just end it all right now. And you may think, well, boy, that's the horrors of this pandemic. This is really taking a toll even on the youngest members of our society. Maybe even worse for them. It's really a mental... No, they want to die because they're being forced at gunpoint by some dumb fat teacher to do this. Teacher, by the way, wearing a mask the whole time. She's 300 pounds and she tells these little shits they better wear a mask or else they're going to kill her. But then she goes off to Bojangles afterwards and gets herself some Bo-tato rounds and scarfs those down. Can I get an extra large Mountain Dew? I'm going to need it to survive the pandemic. Speaking of, I'm going to open up a Dr. Pepper. I don't know about you folks at home. The teacher told them this was for TikTok. These are future nurses. These are your essential workers here, everybody. I can't wait till we bring back child labor. That's coming. Okay, so this is almost not even different from the original song. This one might be parallel thinking, to be honest, because they've almost not even changed the original lyrics at this point. There's very little different going on here. I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to save you from the pain of having to listen to the rest of this one. But the next thing I bring you is going to be the worst thing you've ever seen.
Support the show. Join the Pizza Fund. Podawful.Pizza.
Pizza.
Podawful.Pizza.
Now, if you thought just talking about the theater, maybe you didn't even think the theater kids thing was a big deal, what I'm about to show you is going to prove that to be absolutely wrong. Okay, the thing that I've encountered here, it's more of a creature than it is a man. It's more of, again, I've seen these people. They were in my theater class. There was one of these guys. You know, questionable sexuality. He's the dean from the story before. Some of those deans do grow up to be full on exactly what you think they are. You know, they were in the closet the whole time. And when that happens, that unleashes a type of monster in a person. Listen, I want to be very clear about something. And I'm probably going against a lot of my own audience by even saying something like this. I do not hate gay people. People get the wrong idea just because I like making jokes and I say things about, I might use certain words that maybe some of those people don't even like, but I really don't. I don't dislike them at all. In fact, there's a certain kind of gay person that I think is one of our society's best characters. You know, I like a strong character in life. I like somebody who really brings something to the table that's a little different, a little strange to the culture, maybe undoes that. You know, it's time we stop with the counterculture. It's time for anti-culture. And there used to be a type of guy like that, and it was gay people, okay? Gay dudes used to be anti-culture people. They used to turn the norms, the social norms on their heads. And I'm not talking about just when they're 69ing a guy at a bathhouse. What I mean is, until about late 90s, early 2000s, if you were an out-of-the-closet gay guy, and I am not saying any of this to be controversial, and I'm not saying any of this to be edgy, and most importantly, I am not saying this to be hateful. Anytime between the 1950s and the 1990s, mostly I would say you would see this in the 1980s. If you were an out and proud gay guy, if you didn't make any bones about the type of guy you were, maybe you didn't go on TV and go, this is my boyfriend, hello, but if you didn't really hide it so much, and back then people were pretty naive. I mean, people didn't know Liberace was gay, who's mentioned in the song Mr. Sandman, by the way. I think in Mr. Sandman, she asks for a guy like Liberace. This is how little people knew about gays. You could kind of be out and people wouldn't even know it, and you didn't have to say anything. But the most special part of a guy like that from back then was, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to make any assumptions because it'll get me kicked off of YouTube again, and I'm trying to stay on the networks for as long as I possibly can. Back then, if you were an out and loud and proud gay guy, it warped you into a twisted, horrific, macabre monster man. It made you like Vincent Price or Pee Wee Herman or somewhere in between those two things. For some reason, being gay used to turn you into a cartoonish monster. And I personally love that. As a kid, because I was like those people in the 1950s who didn't know any better, I didn't know what a gay bob was. You know, my mom told me, watch out for the gay bobs. If you're walking home from school, watch out for gay bobs. They will stop and ask if you want to ride home. Tell them no, okay? If they say that, if any gay bob, and she called them gay bobs, if any gay bob says you want to hitch a ride back home with me and you say, who are you? And they say, I'm your mom's friend. Remember, your mom doesn't have any friends. Tell them to kick rocks. So I didn't know any better. Beyond that tiny little conversation, I had no idea watching these television presenters and strange movie characters and things like that. Oftentimes, a lot of children's show presenters, and again, I'm not drawing any paranormal conclusions here. My point is, I found them very entertaining, and I still do. There's a part of me that almost wishes, and Kelsey, cover your ears during this part, that I was one of them. Because, and that's not, again, please stop looking at me during this episode. I'm getting to a point here, all right? Because I think they're so highly strange and entertaining. And yeah, I'm aware that something is broken in these people probably that makes them that way, that I should not wish upon myself. But gosh, it would just be so worth it, you know? A guy like Bob, you know, a confirmed bachelor. I'm talking about confirmed bachelors. Like Bob Ross. Maybe he had a wife and kids even. I don't know. There's a certain, you know, Christopher Lowell. Every day when I got home from school in the 90s, my mom was watching a guy named Christopher Lowell, and I hated him, but I couldn't stop. I would sit on the couch, and I would sit there, and I'd seethe, and I would go, Mom, why do you watch this? I hate this. He is so gay. And yet I couldn't take my eyes away because you know what? He was having fun, and he seemed like when he went home at night, he fell asleep inside a coffin upside down. I don't know. Something about that just speaks to me as a person. You know, a guy who's really into Halloween, probably. I don't know. Show me some examples in the chat room. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're saying like the Santa Cruz Joker. Richard Simmons, a perfect example. Kind of like Steven Crowder today. No, Steven Crowder is not out and proud. That's a problem we all have. Think about it like this. Would you have a problem with Steven Crowder if he would just admit it? Isn't that what you really have a problem with? You know, and he knows, but he won't say it. And you're just sitting there going, tell us, Steven, tell us. And he's like, no, guys, look, I've got a beautiful wife. I wear dresses just sometimes. It's fine. No, that's not who I mean. Pee-wee for sure. And the guy I'm about to show you is very much like Pee-wee. In fact, they seem to have gotten their makeup and plastic surgery done at the exact same place. It's almost uncanny. We have any other ones in here? Pitch Perfect. What are we talking? John Waters, Rip Taylor, 100% beautiful. Beautiful, yes. Charles Nelson Riley. I love these guys. Charles Nelson Riley, Rip Taylor throwing the glitter everywhere. How fun would that be to ride a mobility scooter down the aisles of a theater and just throw confetti in stupid fat women's faces? They're making, like, women don't even realize it. Gay guys are just constantly making fun of them. Love it, by the way. Big fan of that. They're just being made fun of, and they'll let a gay guy just abuse them physically and verbally. And they just think like, oh, I guess I'm like, they like me now. It's like, no, they're making fun of you behind your back. Who was the other? John Waters, great. Those movies, awesome. The pencil mustache, hilarious. Big fan. And then what was Charles Nelson Riley? I mean, come on, Hollywood Squares. How could you not love it? That only works, though, if you do come out. The guy I'm about to show you is very much out of the closet. He's apparently famous. I had never heard of this man before in my entire life. But his name is Randy Rainbow, and that is his real name. This guy was created to be a strange, macabre, gay monster cartoon character. The first name even, Randy. How are you feeling, Randy, baby? Yeah. Rainbow is his actual last name. It's incredible, okay? I want to show, I preface all of this by, for this reason alone. This dude was one of those theater guys I was talking about. I went to school with a guy. I'm not going to say his name because who knows? You know, if it got back to him, I don't know how comfortable he would be. I'm trying to be nice here. Again, I don't dislike gay people. There was this guy in our school, and he was, strangely, he was a big guy. He was like a little muscular, and he was the ladies' man. Big time ladies' man. He slept with every hot, popular girl, every lead cheerleader, head cheerleader, all of those girls. There's stories about him in the closet, 7 minutes in heaven. At every party, he was there. He dated every girl. This dude, I wish I could tell you his name because his, much like Randy Rainbow, he had a perfect name for being a closeted gay guy. And one year, out of nowhere, he just ended up in theater. And it made no sense. This was a guy, he was into sports, and he was a part of the popular. You didn't go into theater if you were a popular kid. That doesn't make any sense. The only way you went into theater if you were a popular kid is if you were popular and into music and you needed another outlet to sing in front of people. You tried it out. You tried the theater thing just to get your voice heard. Maybe you thought you'd find a talent scout that way. That was the only way. This dude, it made no sense that he was in theater class. And he had a lisp. I don't know how you become popular and a known coxman with a lisp, but he did it. And me, the guy I was telling you about before, his name's Michael, my friend Michael, you know, that we would be in this theater class and we didn't take any of it seriously. And we'd be sitting there the whole time going, you know, we'll call him Dean. You know, Dean's gay, right? Like, Dean's gay. We would say to the girls, like, he's gay. There's no way he's betting all these women. I don't care what kind of Lothario you claim he is. He's gay. If he had sex with him and wasn't going, ew, 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 the whole time, then at the very least, he's gay. You had sex with a gay guy. Do you understand you had sex with a gay guy? No, we didn't have a problem with it. There's anything wrong with that. Mulva. But he was gay. Okay? And the problem we had, just like Steven Crowder, was that he wouldn't admit it. He would be a much cooler guy if he just let himself admit it. Years later, MySpace comes out. You know, I graduated school before there was a MySpace. That's how old of a man I am. MySpace comes out years later. I get a friend request or whatever it was called back then from Dean. And I go, well, look at this. Dean. Now, we weren't close. We were in a little play together one time where, by the way, this is so funny. So, you know, you do theater stuff. You wind up doing stuff you don't want to do. If you're like me, you wind up doing stuff you don't want to do. And I was put in this very precarious situation. The girl that I followed into theater class got a part in this little play thing. And the male opposite to her part got to kiss her. But so I, of course, gunned for that role. But what I did not know ahead of that is that part was a gay guy. I was playing a gay teenager. Now, for some reason, I make out with a girl in this, and it doesn't tell me to go, ew, 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 afterward. So, score on my part, but not looking great in front of all the other kids, if you know what I mean. And the funniest part is the only other person in this little scene we did was Dean. And Dean was playing my father who didn't approve of my gay lifestyle. Cut to a few years later, MySpace, friend request, Dean. I look at the photos. He is wearing a Borat-style thong with men surrounding him in the club, Mersh style. His tongue is hanging out at another guy's crotch. He's covered in glitter, and I nearly shed a tear. Finally, he had become the party monster he was meant to be. I was so happy for Dean. Let me tell you something. If a Dean type, if one of these guys who's now working on his pet project in the quarantine, if he never comes out, it builds up. It builds up inside them. They bottle it up, and it turns into a horrifying, disastrous, dangerous, violent monstrous energy inside them, an autistic energy that one day will lead to someone, maybe them, maybe someone else, getting very, very hurt.
Hard Ray is in here. So great to be here. And now, oh, what is this? We have a black man. We have a black man in the chat right now. This is the first time for Drunk Sports.
Yeah, what's good, nigga?
Oh, wow. Look at that.
What's good?
Congratulations. I just got porn on my show. Yeah, that's good. I deserve that, so. And now, the biggest fail of that is definitely the moment we just saw, but I can't punch my wall again, and Podawful makes me do that.
I don't know how those clips started playing, but completely unrelated to the story I was just telling. It just happened to be a guy who wears yoga pants and plays a character and dances around and likes performing and is into professional wrestling, which is essentially just being a theater kid, but with muscly men. Completely unrelated. Let's get to it. This is Randy Rainbow, and you're about to see things you've never seen before in your entire life. I'm asking you to watch this with an open mind, knowing that it's still going to be the absolute worst thing you've ever seen.
Could you maybe at some point just like curse or say something completely Looney Tunes or offensive? The other guy used to do that, and it just made this whole thing a little funnier.
So he's interviewing Joe Biden, and he uses a cartoon blink sound effect. So honestly, I'll be honest, I like this intro part. This part's not bad, but when we get to the song, you're going to want to tear your eyes out.
I'm just trying to work with you here.
We're live in 3, 2.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by a man some people believe is the President of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden. Robinette?
Yes.
Don't even have to write a joke about that.
See? Okay, see, I like this.
Joe,
he puts on very girly cat eye 50s glasses, bright pink. He has the makeup of Pee Wee Herman. Draw your own conclusions there. Listen, all I'm saying is it's not the worst. We can like stuff like this. It's okay. It is okay. This whole culture war thing has really ruined fun for some of you people. That said, there are limits, and I'm about to show you where the line is in the sand.
Can I call you Joe?
No.
Girl, we have a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
As the coronavirus continues to wreak havoc, Americans are getting restless and frustrated, if you know what I mean.
Dude, Jesse, this episode is torture seeing all this shit at once. That's the idea.
To wreak havoc, Americans are getting restless and frustrated, if you know what I mean.
One of the disappointments.
Okay, so here it is, exactly what I asked for. If you're going to be horny for an old man on the news, at least be upfront about it. Randy Rainbow, there's no balls about it. Well, actually, what I mean to say is there's no bones about it. Well, actually, what I mean to say is he's making it very clear. This isn't just a vaccine, quarantine, Mr. Sandman parody. This is about him being horny for Joe Biden and Dr. Fauci.
Office is the circumstance relating to how the administration was handling COVID was even more dire than we thought. We thought they indicated there was a lot more vaccine available. It didn't turn out.
See, okay, how can you be mad? Sleepy Joe was making Randy Rainbow sleepy. How can you be mad at that?
We're doing so much testing.
Huh? Oh.
He is a boring guy.
Excuse me, I think I must have fallen a...
You don't ask Biden tough questions.
I like that. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a soft touch. I don't know. Him screaming like a girl there, that gets me. That's what I'm talking about. I like that kind of stuff. I don't know.
I think I must have fallen a...
You don't ask Biden tough questions.
Not everything has to be bullying. I don't get to enjoy stuff every once in a while. It's never going to be what you think it is, Dad. Dean, who is playing my dad. I don't have to be straight, Dad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I'm still having flashbacks.
So we're pushing as hard as we can to get more vaccine manufactured.
You now say we'll have enough supply for every adult to be vaccinated by May. Does this mean I can go to Cancun for spring break with Ted Cruz and the gals?
Well, I didn't say that.
Okay, here we go. Buckle up, everybody, because this is about to get very, very painful.
Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine. Keep me protected from COVID-19.
I have to point out, he's got that thing. What's that Japanese thing where you can tell a person is mental by how much eyeball is exposed around their iris? Somebody must know. One of you is a physiognomy major. One of you checks people's skulls with calipers and knows these sorts of things.
Tell me the trick.
Fuck, kill me. This is giving me wet brain. I just want to point out, by the way, right after this Pizza Fun, Podawful.Pizza, join it. We've got an after show for you. If you think this is bad, I've actually got worse. I've got a lot worse. It's going to be the worst thing ever. Ever, 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 ever. I'll give you a little preview in a second here, but Podawful.Pizza, grab a slice, support the show.
To how I might earn a fix of that magic Pfizer or Moderna. Biden, give me a poke. They call you sleepy, but you're pretty woke. I'm so tired of quarantine.
Senpaku eyes. Now look at him. So it's him repeated multiple times. And again, he is ripping off a child, okay? But the editing is much, much better on this. There's a lot of work, time, effort being put into this. But those eyeballs, those goddamn vampiric eyeballs, these are the last eyes you see on Earth before you die. Yeah, before you die. Well, that's probably true with him being gay. Before you die. Yeah, you're about to get a phone call. 7 days. 7 days until what? Until you get AIDS. Oh shit, I'm paused.
Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine. Please bring
Sanpaku. So he's putting the lyrics on screen, but I have to point this out. He's trying so hard to sound like a lady. He's modifying, he's upping the pitch because these guys all want to be a lady to some degree, and it's to the detriment of the song. You can't understand the words he's singing without them being on screen.
Hey, Joe Biden.
And oh, by the way, it gets worse.
Where's my vaccine? I need a rollout.
I hope I die before I guy, they say in the chat room.
That's good for a queen. Grab your syringe, but make sure you clean it. And stick it in me like you really mean it.
So he's straight up asking Joe Biden to fuck him in the ass. This video is viral. This is being, there's a lot of viral things going on in this video, and I ain't talking coronavirus, but this video has gone viral. It has over 1 million views on it. It's being shared on news sites. The same way they shared the little girl for being precocious and precious for making that song, they're sharing this monster mash for wanting it in the butt. Okay, there are news things where it's like, hey, this guy's Randy, am I right? This is the world we live in. You thought Kahuna was bad. It's way worse. The people who are afraid of it are way worse than getting it.
Hey, Mr. Biden, I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'm really not
And just wait.
afraid.
Watch this.
Inoculate me so I can get laid. So me now, I don't mean to sound absurd. I'm crazy, but I want my freaking vaccine.
His face looks frozen in time to the moment that he was molested by a family member.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Robinettes. Oh.
Okay. Here are the Robinettes, which funny. Okay, the core dads, Joseph Biden, his middle name's Robinette. Here are the Robinettes. And of course, Steven Crowder style. Here's Randy in full lady nurse getup, shooting a TikTok.
Won't you stay? I'm numb. My half. Oh, I see.
Now, I'm looking at the lyrics and I still can't understand what the hell he's saying.
Please, Mr. Biden.
Yes.
Bring my vaccine.
Now he's doing come hither looks to the camera, which are intended for our president. This is a man. Again, I got no problem with it.
I want to trick or treat when we hit hell.
I'm getting some real uncanny valley shit from looking at this guy. Yeah, he looks like maybe he was rendered on the PlayStation 3.
Bring my vaccine. I want to trick or treat when we hit Halloween. Give me that double dose and make me go ouchie, so I can plan a kiss on Dr. Fauci.
You know what he looks like? He kind of looks like if Alan Cumming got a younger boyfriend and made him Liberace style get plastic surgery to kind of look like a young version of himself.
Ouchie, so I can plan a kiss on Dr. Fauci.
So he wants to fuck this Dr. Fauci must be the most laid man on earth. Women want him. Men want him. Viruses want him.
Oh, Mr. Biden, kick up a notch, 'cause I've run out of Netflix movies to watch. Girl, I'm so tired of quarantine. Mr. Biden, bring us, please, 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 Mr. Biden, bring my bags. Just one tiny prick so we can frickin' leave the house.
Just one tiny prick so we can freaking leave the house. I have a feeling that Randy's looking for more than a tiny prick. Okay, don't worry. The worst of these is over. But the absolute worst thing on earth is actually this.
It's vaccination day! It's vaccination day! Today I get my COVID jab, and I'm feeling really fab. For months I have been waiting for this day.
It turns out that the only thing worse than a Mr. Sandman parody is a Frozen parody. I've got 2 of the worst things I've ever seen for you for the Pod After show tonight. Join us in the Pizza Fund. Podawful.Pizza, $6 level for all of that, but the show is not over yet because we got to talk about something. And the thing we got to talk about is the kid from the beginning of the show. Let's play his song one more time because, again, this is the one that is, you know, as much as Randy Rainbow went viral and all of his comments are, Randy, you always make me laugh. You are the funniest comedian on YouTube. This kid, I didn't see Randy get any shit from anybody for making that horrific, monstrous thing we just watched. This kid, however, has adult men posting his video and saying, I mean, again, they're calling him brainwashed. They're calling him a puppet of the left. They're calling his parents monsters for putting this kind of fear in him. They're saying the absolute worst things. They're calling him cringe. This is a kid. He's a teenager. He's a kid. And he's also something else. And we got to talk about it. Let's take a look. So I just want to point, and we can stop right there. I just want to point out that this starts off with him doing a little pat on his knee to start singing. Okay, I really watched that pat. Okay. He's really getting into the groove of this song. And again, he's got signs that he is hand-drawn of the lyrics. He's performing this live for an audience. Vaccinate New York. He's wearing a mask while singing this. You can tell he's huffing his own breath so deeply while singing. He's clearly not a singer. You know, he doesn't know breath control. So now he's huffing his own carbon dioxide. He's about to pass out by the end of this.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined.
Let me tell you something. I am no doctor. So don't take anything I've said on this program tonight to be medical advice. I'm just nowhere near as sexy as Dr. Fauci. Yes. But I do know one thing. I have a certain gift that is very useful to the medical community. In fact, I think I should be hired by them. I have a special ear for something and an eye for it. And to be honest, when I first saw this video, when I first saw this going around, I immediately went, okay, you can't, like, this isn't the same as those other ones. This is not, maybe you don't want to say the things you're saying. When I saw the kid go pat his leg, I was suspicious. But by the time he got to this line right here,
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined.
the teened. I heard something there. And where most people just heard a bad singer, I heard a certain thing known as the autistic lilt. One more time.
Teens, help all the people who have been quarantined.
Teened. Ladies and gentlemen, we're dealing with a member of the AU Gold tribe. This kid wrote this in between watching Thomas the Tank Engine and also reorganizing his sock drawer for the 15th time that day. The conservative MAGA men out there who have been dying to rip their masks off have been making fun of an autistic child. That's my job. What are you doing? You're not supposed to do that, you stupid little scamp. Let's keep watching. It gets better. Watch this.
Wear masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant.
Now again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know for sure he's autistic. I just hear something in his voice that makes me think that when I'm watching.
Yes?
Yes? Even he's got this, so he's ripping off. But again, if I'm right and he's autistic, he's allowed to rip somebody off.
We'll
right?
be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease.
Now, you might have thought, oh, that's just a nerd's voice. There's some of you right now in your head, you're like, you might just be a nerd. Well, number one, that's what nerds are. They're just autistic kids. You didn't know it. We didn't know that back in the 80s when we made movies about them. But nerds are just autistic children. That's all they are.
These restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
Now, in the chat room, they're saying the AUDAR is foolproof. I'm gonna prove that to you right now, actually. Let's take a look one more time at what just happened there.
Dr. Fauci.
You see now watch the way he shakes his little tush, okay? And I know you don't want to do that, but this is for science, all right? Fuck yeah, science, Dr. Fauci. So he's kind of bobbing up and down to the music. And there's a little bit, he kind of goes off beat with his bobbing for a second. Watch very carefully.
We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease.
And then he
restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci.
You see that? You see? Okay, and then he skips it a little bit there. That you think he's bobbing to music, he's not. That's an autistic, nervous wiggle. I'm telling you, I've studied these people for years. This is essentially my job, is to diagnose autism. And I'm not making fun of him for this. I'm the guy calling out everybody else for making fun of him.
Don't forget me.
He drew these amazing signs. By the way, the letter work on these signs for being hand-drawn is amazing, which again means he is autistic. Now you can see his hands shaking as people start to clap, because what he wants to do is put his hands over his ears and start screaming real loud. What sealed the deal for me, what made me know I was right 100%, was what happens after this. Okay, that is not how a human being bows. He is now taking in his applause. And of course, if you are Down syndrome, if you are autistic, if you are physically retarded, you don't so much do things because you know you're supposed to. You mimic. I'll show you like this. I've said this before. Have you ever seen a Down syndrome guy smile? Here's how they do it. Because they don't know. They naturally do not smile. A Down syndrome guy, he's happy all the time, but there's no part of his face that knows to naturally just smile. It's just part of their poor development, their poor mental development. They can't help it. So what they do instead to try to fit in better is they mimic smiling. And you don't think about smiling, so you don't realize that when you smile, you don't lift your upper lip. That doesn't happen. There's nobody normally would move their upper lip to smile. But the Down syndrome guy, he's not looking at himself in the mirror when he mimics you smiling, so he does this. It's also the same way Trump smiles, and don't get me started on why Down syndrome people love him, but this is what happens. They go, that's how they smile. Sorry for the audio people. They just bring their bottom lip and top lip all the way up under their nose, basically. That's it. It's not really a smile. They don't even look happy. They more look like they're trying to get a sneeze out. Help me, I'm back. Help me, I'm smiling in the bathroom. Help me. Okay, in the same vein, this kid does not know how to bow. Now, many of you have probably never performed on a stage before, and thus you probably don't know how to bow instinctively. And yet, if you were to do it, it would never end up looking like this. So he takes a moment to collect himself. He sort of oddly grabs at his belt area. He puts one hand behind his back like he's an 1800s stage magician. And then this hand that went for the belt area, it doesn't know what to do anymore, so it kind of goes loose. And he does a full-on Chinese bow over. That's not the only one. Whoop! He goes in for it again. People keep clapping. He says, thank you very much, like Elvis, and autistic people love Elvis, so that's what's happening.
Thank you very much.
Fittingly, they call it masking, I'm being told in the chat room by Maniacal Foreigner. They call, like, mimicking, that's a term? I didn't even know that was a thing. I had no idea. So that's it. He does the bow a few more times. That's it. Now, here's the thing. Again, I was taking a guess. Wild stab in the dark that this kid is autistic, that he's not cringe. He just doesn't know any better. And you got to think about it from an autistic kid's point of view. This coronavirus thing, this quarantine especially, has fucked kids up with autism. This has been have you seen Frankie McDonald? You know Frankie McDonald, the Canadian weatherman who is a retarded person, which might be all Canadian weathermen. I'm not sure. He might just be the actual official weatherman for Canada. I always assumed he was just a guy that made silly videos on the internet and people just kind of uplifted him the same way they do other retards like Review Bra. But I'm going to get some angry comments for that one. You know, where they pretend they like him. But he might just be the actual guy that shows up on the news in Canada. I don't know how it works up there. You know, he lives in Nova Scotia. Frankie McDonald. Alert! Weather alert! Huge windstorm coming from Nova Scotia! If you look at his tweets, he is a panicked nonsense person, more so than normal. Let me be clear. There is a fear in every other tweet of his, and he's constantly tweeting out saying like, when this pandemic is over, I will go and tour around the whole world. I will go to every country. And the reason that's happening is autistic kids love patterns. They love schedules. It's why they love trains. They love trains so much because trains run on a schedule. You can guarantee the train is supposed to be there at the same time every day. And the second one of those schedules is interrupted, the second things aren't going as planned, as routine, then you've got it's not good. Okay, there's parents out there right now who are dying from this whole endeavor. This kid is terrified of the pandemic. He wants the vaccine not because he's brainwashed by CNN and the liberal media. He wants to be able to do the things he did before. He wants it to be where he goes to school. He has a terrible time there all day, screaming and licking trash cans. It sounds bad, but he wants that. It's what he's used to. He comes home, his mom gives him a bowl of ramen and chicken nuggets. Same thing every day. It's the only foods he eats. Pork ramen and chicken nuggets, plain, by the way, no sauce. He sits there, he watches, I don't know, whatever the latest version of Pokemon is. He draws a Pokemon, and that's it. That's his day. That's his whole day. It should be that every time. His mom tucks him into bed under his Ninja Turtles blanket at 7 p.m. every night. He gets up the next day. Same thing again. Wakes up, eats ramen, plain chicken nuggets for breakfast, goes to school, licks trash cans, screams, the whole 9 yards. That's what he wants. I've got the proof. If you don't believe me, I've got the proof. It turns out the kid is autistic because guess what? The news covered this one too. Let's take a look.
If you are getting the vaccine at the Dome Arena in Henrietta, you'll likely receive a sticker made by Zachary Mugavero of Geneseo. Zachary is on the autism spectrum, and he has long turned heads for his amazing talent.
You move a chair in a room, it's a completely different room to them.
Tonight, he delivered a knockout performance.
It's like the ODIDs of March for Frankie's. That's called in the chat. All right, so here he is. Here's Zachary, and if you didn't believe it, you know, maybe this is fake news, but just take a listen to Zach.
You might call April 22nd Zachary Mugavero's encore appearance at the State Vaccine Hub in Henrietta. He came here twice to get his COVID shots. Then he came back with a gift.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines.
Imagine watching this on your local news and not bursting out into laughter.
Help all.
The only thing I have a problem with are the, the right-leaning guys who are they're mad about this. There are guys out there who are mad at this.
The people who...
You gotta pause with the political stuff. We're done. All right, politics is over. You have to stop. Anti-culture.
Have been quarantined.
Not only did Zachary write...
If you are still into politics, you're Revenge of the Sis at this point. You're Mersh. Give it up. It's left, right, I don't care. Some other thing, some third-party thing. I don't give a shit. Stop. It has to be over, okay? I want to quarantine from those people.
Write a song about the COVID-19 vaccine. He drew a poster urging...
Okay. This poster, I gotta take it off screen so it doesn't spoil it for you. The whole reason I decided to do this entire episode is the poster he drew that they're now giving out as free stickers if you get a vaccine in whatever county this is. This poster is one of the most incredible pieces of autistic artwork since Sonichu.
Write a song about the COVID-19 vaccine. He drew a poster urging others to get the shot too.
Let's break down this poster for a second. So again, like his little signs during his song, it's got amazing lettering. Let's help end this pandemic by giving out vaccines to everyone. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like the graphic design for one of Ethan Ralph's shows. But let's really take a look at what's happening here. So it's a line of people all set up to go to get their vaccine shots. And it appears to be Zach himself in the chair getting his vaccine from presumably Dr. Fauci himself. And in line behind him, this is so incredible. In line behind him are a fanciful dragon, a blue slippy toad from Star Fox, a blue goat for some reason. They're all wearing masks, by the way. It's a dragon with a mask. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Behind him in line, the letter Z wearing a mask. Then the letter A wearing a mask, which his last name doesn't start with A, so I don't know where that comes from. Then another goat, this time a natural color. Then we've got a chicken, some sort of overall wearing, I don't know if it's a squirrel or a wolf, who knows. Then the Easter bunny, and finally Dracula. I love this poster. I'll tell you my favorite part. As far as I know, none of these are characters from pop culture things like video games or cartoons or anything. You know, there's sort of zeitgeisty characters in there. But as far as I know, none of them are Sonichu level. So that's pretty good for an autistic guy. For autistic people usually can't think outside the box like that. Again, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I don't know where this dragon with the horns of Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us comes from. I love this. I love this poster. And again, for those at home keeping score, if you're listening to audio version, one more time, the line consists of Zachary, a dragon, a frog, a blue goat, a reindeer, the letter Z, the letter A white goat, a chicken, some sort of squirrel, a rabbit, and a Dracula. Somehow we keep running into the Earth's monsters everywhere we go. We can't escape Frankensteins, we can't escape Draculas, and now we can't escape Wolfmen. I assume that's what that is in the overalls. It's beautiful. The Dracula pisses me off, they say. The government cares about you. They will give you a free ride to get a free medicine vaccination, says Studi in the chat. Very strange comment.
It really is an honor to have you join.
His mom did the lettering, I suspect. No, that's autistic lettering. It might be a stencil, though. I will say that. I might be giving him too much credit, but he did it. Trust me.
Zach, and help us end this pandemic.
Get it, everyone, from A to Z. Then why was it Z to A? How do you screw that up? And again, in the middle of these fanciful animal characters and Dracula, you've just got two anthropomorphic letters. I mean, I can't, I gotta look at it again. Yeah, it's Z to A here, actually. And again, the Z then should be right behind Zach in line, or the A should be right behind Zach in line, and then the Z should be at the end of the line. They're right next to each other in the line. Look,
others.
Maybe this is maybe a little too much scrutiny for Zach.
To get the shot, too.
It really...
Oh, that's a meat wad in front of Dracula. Is that what that is? I was trying to see what that was.
He drew a poster urging...
I can't see it. I thought it was like a pumpkin. I thought it was like a Halloween bag or something.
Others to get the shot,
can't really
too.
see it.
It really is an honor to have you join us, Zach, and help us end this pandemic.
The Z and the A are the best. I know. There's something about that Z and the Dracula obviously stands out. And the dragon has its own fine qualities as well. But the Z and the A just kind of hiding back there behind them. You almost don't even notice them at first. You're like, oh, look at the little character. And then you go, Z and an A. What the fuck?
Drew a poster.
Look at this image and remind yourself, there was a conservative dad sitting in his truck wearing his sunglasses on the back of his head, getting mad about the kid who drew this. That's all I need to point out to you. That's the point of all of this.
Urging others to get the shot, too.
It really is an honor to have you join us, Zach, and help us end this pandemic.
Let's help end this pandemic by giving out vaccines to everyone.
Oh my God. Okay. Now, if that had been my introduction to Zach, I would have immediately gone, oh, hands down. He's I mean, that's AU gold right there. There's no question about it. I mean, go ahead and I'll write out the prescription for whatever meds he's going to need in the future. I don't know what they give him, but I can diagnose this one for sure.
New York Department of Health was so moved by Zachary's gesture, they had the poster made into stickers to hand out to people who get vaccinated.
God,
I'm thrilled for him. And, it just underscores what kids on the spectrum can do.
By the way, this is like, remember that the first introduction the world had to Christine Weston Chandler was when she was a child, was a very little kid. She was on the news. This could be the start of a promising career in AU Gold. We may need to keep our eyes on Zach.
When
he hits 22, 23, some stuff is going to break loose. There's going to be a nightmare on our hands at that point.
Underscores what kids on the spectrum can do.
I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of Zach. From Z to A.
Very excited to see all of this.
As his family...
I have to hear that again. The way he says that is so fun.
It just underscores what kids on the spectrum can do.
Very excited to see all of this.
I might have to make that a drop for the show. I got excited. Very excited to see all of this. How come so many autistic kids talk like they're Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone? You are now entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of Dracula's.
Very excited to see all of this.
As his family was celebrating, the hub was marking a milestone.
Look at that poster. Oh my God.
In 93 days...
I might change the album art for the podcast to that image.
It's vaccinated 175,000 people.
Fauci, yes.
Including Zachary.
Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
Believe me now, autism causes vaccine parodies. The only way we can really, truly stop, though, the scourge that is this parody song, because I don't think it's over. I think we're going to see more Mr. Sandman parodies here in the future. And the only way that you could possibly end something like that is by coming up with a new parody. And it's got to be one that the theater kids cannot do. You know what? I think I've got the perfect idea. Hang on a second here. Here we go. Say your prayers, Grandmama, don't forget Grandpa. Say goodbye to ya. Nurse tucks you in, wipes your chin, won't let family in till Dr. Fauci comes. Wear a mask like slaves, buried in shallow graves. Exit breath into death. Take the jab. Virus made in Chinese labs. Thank you, so much for joining me tonight on Pod Awful. Remember, spread this earworm around. I'll see you in the Pod After Show, $6 level and up. You want to support the show, you want bonus content, you want to see what you're missing out on, grab a slice, Podawful.Pizza. And until next time, that's it. Have an awful day.
Head over to podawful.com/iTunes and subscribe to us on iTunes. We're live every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern at podawful.tv. Love the show? Keep it going by donating to the Pizza Fund. podawful.com/support. And anything else you need is at podawful.com.